Hey, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be showing you exactly how to manage your time, even if you're super busy. Time management is really not a thing. Like, we all have the same 168 hours in a week that we can use to manage, but we're not going to make more hours there. So instead, we want to look at it as choice management. You're deciding what are the right activities for you. Where do you want to devote your time? Where do you want to devote your attention? Once you figure out what's most important, then you want to figure out what is the most effective way to accomplish those activities. So it's not about managing your time. It's about choosing the things that are important to you and then figuring out how to most effectively and efficiently accomplish those things. Your to-do list has 100 things on it, maybe 200, maybe 50, but it definitely has more than like 5. And it can be demoralizing to continually rewrite that to-do list every day. Or if you're using a project management system, all of a sudden, all of those due dates start turning red, which can get very overwhelming. And to make it less overwhelming, you think, well, I'll fool myself and I'll go in and I'll turn the red ones and I'll just date them all today, which isn't going to work either. So instead of thinking, I have to get all of these things done, take a step back and determine what are the most important things to get done by me. Then look at what are the other things that absolutely positively must get done that someone else could do. And then the rest of those activities, they're probably not that important. So many times things pop into our heads and we drop them on a to-do list just because they popped into our head, where when you give yourself a little bit of time to assess, you realize it's not going to move my business forward. 2 things that you can look at. Does this give me joy? Does this make me money? If the answer isn't yes to both of those things, definitely take a moment and evaluate why in the world is it on the list. The amazing business owners that I get to work with every day have one thing in common, and that is that they are exceptionally busy. And they start to forget that busyness doesn't equal business. And what that means is it's not about the number of tasks on your to-do list or the number of things you cross off in a day. It's about crossing off the right thing. What's the one action today that's going to help your client the most? What's the one action today that's going to move your business forward the most? Not the 10 things that kind of help your client, that one thing that really moves it forward. If we're looking for quality instead of quantity, life becomes so much easier. There's so much more space in a day to focus on those things that really matter instead of just churning out activities one right after the other. One of the frameworks that we use to help business owners figure out what is most important and how do we get through our day the most effectively and efficiently as possible is the AWE framework. A, awareness. What is the real problem? You'll spend more time here than anywhere else. Dig in and figure out what's actually preventing me from getting what I want to get done. It's very seldom the first answer. Keep digging. W, work. What structure can I create? What framework can I use so that it's easy to solve the problem that I identified in the A and the awareness part? And then finally, E, evaluation. When we do more of what works and less of what doesn't, life becomes so much easier. So take 10 minutes to go back and assess, is the solution working? Did I solve the problem I set out to solve? So here's an example of that. When I first started my business, I was exceptionally busy all the time. And so I thought the answer was to be better at calendar management. I would shorten up 60-minute meetings to 50 minutes to give myself an extra 10 minutes. And then if I did 2 of those back to back, I could have an extra 20 minutes and then I could throw a task in the middle. That wasn't the actual challenge. That wasn't my productivity bottleneck. The bottleneck was that I had too much stuff to do. I had too many tasks to do, and I could take a 50-minute or a 60-minute meeting, turn it into 50. It didn't mean that I actually was going to get all that much more done. So instead, taking that step back and looking at A for awareness, it was one human cannot do all this work. So instead, let's figure out what are the things that we could automate, what are the things that we can delegate, what are the things that really are mine that I should be working on. That's the awareness piece. Once we figured that out, that was the challenge, then you could easily work into the W piece, the work piece. And then it's just a matter of figuring out what's the right solution, the easy solution, the solution that relies on your strengths, that creates a structure that it's easy for you to slide into, easy for you to accomplish. Doesn't require a ton of discipline. So for example, if we're looking back at my piece, it is difficult at the beginning to delegate activities to people because as a business owner, you think you own all the tasks, which means that you're doing everything. Well, if every task comes to me first, I'm going to do it. But if I can create a structure to where things are assigned in a project management system and I have to decide who gets the task, then that slows me down just one step to think who, not how, who can do this, not how can I do it. And then I assign it to someone else. That's the structure. It causes me to think instead of just automatically, reactively taking it on myself. Just last week, one of my clients came to the call and said, I feel so lazy. I just can't get the things done that I need to get done. Here's the thing. I don't really believe in laziness in general in the clients that I work with. And what I often see is procrastination. And often my clients will confuse the two. And the reason many times that people are procrastinating and they think that it's lazy is because there's a lack of clarity. So back to the client I was sharing with you. She felt lazy because she couldn't make herself dig into her financials. She had Financials Friday, and every Friday she was going to dig into her financials, and that's what a real business owner does. And Monday would come, she didn't do it. She would feel guilty all weekend long because she wasn't doing her financials. It was just the cycle over and over again. Well, when we dug in, and so if we talk about the AWE framework awareness, we started to dig in, why wasn't she doing her financials? And the thing is, she didn't have any clarity around what does it mean to do your financials? Like, she had this huge task and had no idea what that meant. And also, what was the value in it? Why was she doing it? Her goal, her reason behind looking at her numbers was because she only wanted to work 30 hours a week. She's working about 65 right now. Her goal is 30. She needed to know what has to happen in her business. At what level of income do they need to be able to hire another person? How many people do they need to hire in order for her to be able to remove herself to 30 hours a week? Once she could draw that bridge between doing the financials and what it is that she was working towards, sliding in and doing Financial Friday became much, much easier. What's her end goal? Well, her end goal was to pull herself out of the business to where she was only working 30 hours a week. So when you choose to make the most important thing the most important thing, and you focus on quality instead of quantity, then you're living a life where you have space and ease to focus on what matters most. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, then please hit the thumbs up and subscribe. And shortly, popping up on your screen will be a number of other videos. Go ahead and click on one of those.